So guys, let's go over and handle the animation for the tap gesture event. So let's go back to the design. So whenever you see the user click on this bottom side of the curve, you can see it's going to slide up, while whenever he clicks on it again, it's going to come down. So we are going to see how we can make such an animation in order to be able to go forward and go backward. So that's what we are going to do now. And the next thing we have to do is at the bottom here, I can simply, let me just change this to box. So inside that box, we have to put some different text. So the text I'm going to put here is the effect text, and I'm going to give it a variant of title 2. So let's save and check. You can see the text over there is exactly this text here. So it's not actually aligned to the center, but don't mind, we are going to still fix that. So beneath that box, I can just wrap everything here in Tapgesture Handler. Then I'm going to bring in a view. So this view is coming from the React Native Reanimated. So don't forget to make sure you're using that, or else we are going to have a clash whenever we are trying to animate with the normal view of React Native. So make sure you come at the top. You can see the steps I followed to make use of this view from Reanimated. So at the bottom here, I have to give this a style. I'm going to give this a width to make use of the full width of this area. Don't worry, we are going to give it a color, so that maybe a red color or a white color, so that we can actually see this area. Then we can put that back to flex end, and this logo automatically will stay at the top. So let me just give this a width. We are going to make use of the screen width, and we are going to multiply this with the slice.length. So we want this to be very tall, to be very wide, and we are going to give this a height of 50, give it a flex direction of row, and also transform it. For the transform now, let's just wait. Okay, we can actually transform because I think we have the X value of our transformation. So our transformation is coming from here. Okay, let's just go ahead and finish this, then we can add the transformation. So what I have to do here still is to use the slides. Remember that we have to display the cars. Then I'm going to add a box. So for this box, I'm going to give it a flex of 1. And inside that box, we are going to have a text. Give it a variant of description because we want it to be very small. Give it a color of white. And inside here, we're going to add the car speed. Then at the top here, we're going to use the structuring to pull out the car speed. I think the car speed is the only thing we need. Then we can get the index. So over here, we can add the key to be index. So let's go ahead and save. And you can see it's still at the top there, which does not really make sense. But mind you, this is occupying a height. So let me just give this a background color of white. So you can see it's occupying a height. And let's go back to the top. So this place that we got rid of I think justify content flex, and we have to add it back, and that should push it down. So you can see automatically it pushes it down. And let me kind of make it red so that you can really see what I'm doing. So let me make it a red color. And you can see that area is just what you want. We want it to go down. So that's the area that the user clicks over here, taps over here, and it scrolls down and taps on it again, and it goes up. So because we don't want to make use of the Tapgesture Handler on this full area, or else whenever we click anything here, it's going to just be scrolling and we're not sure us other things. So we want to avoid that. So that's why we did it like this. And then for the logo to go up back again, it's also very simple. Just come here. I think At the top here, we have to add a flex of 1 again. So over here, I can just let me just add a flex of 1 here. Let me see what it's going to give us. It looks good, but flex of 1. So you're supposed to make use of the whole width. Let's kind of give this. Let me just get rid of the justify content to center and let's see. Okay, it pushes it backward, and for the image should look okay. Oh, let's allow that. And then over here, let's go ahead and complete the styling for the card, because you want the card to show over this area. So what I can do right now is, let me kind of check something. So over here we can, okay, let's go ahead and fix the animation before we continue. So I'm going to create a gesture handler animation value. I'm going to scroll to the top. So above the return, we are going to create a constant called gesture handler. So I'm just going to set this to null for now. And what I can do first is to create a gesture state. And the gesture state is going to use the ref. So we want to make use of the use ref from React. So I'm just going to import it quickly. Use ref. So for the use ref side there, we are going to have the new animated.value state.undetermined. So the state is going to be coming from, let me just import it quickly. Import from React Native gesture handler. So we have to get the state, because we are going to make use of the state whenever it's starting and also make use of the state whenever it's ending. So the first state usually starts with undetermined state. Then I'm going to create, okay, we already have the gesture handler. So for the gesture handler, whenever we experience an onGesture, whenever we get an onGesture event, we have to target the state and use the gesture state and set it to the current value of this onGesture state. So in the case that we clicked on this, automatically it's going to start from the beginning to the end. So we want to make use of those values to interpolate this to either go up or go down, which is very simple. So I'm going to create a gesture value. I'm going to use the ref once more. Not once more, I'll still make use of it again. But I'm going to set a value of 0. Then I'm going to, okay, let me just go ahead and finish this for now. So what I'm going to do is to use the use code hook from React Native Redash. So it gives us a callback of an array, and it also accepts a condition of a gesture state value. So let's set it to gesture state.current value, the animated node current value. Then inside here, it's going to accept a condition. So let me kind of increase this font size a little bit. So let me make it 26. I think that will be better, which is fine. So what I need to do right now is we have to check for the equals value of the gesture state. If the current value is state.end, then what we have to do is to set, let me go ahead and import these things so that we don't have an error. Let me import this for now. So I'm gonna just add it. So what you have to do is to set the current state. I think we have to set the current state. Okay, let's go this way. Sorry guys for that. Sorry for that once more. Let's go this way because I really want to explain this perfectly. So we have to make use of the use code, which is going to accept the gesture state dot current animation node, which is going to accept a callback. Then we have to specify a condition that is going to check for the equals value of this gesture state current node. Then if the state happens to be state.end, which is actually a number, there are some things we have to do inside here. The first thing we have to do is to check for the condition of the gesture value. So we have to check for the current gesture value, whether it is 1. Then if it is 1, we have to set gesture value dot current to 0, and also we have to set gesture state dot current value to state dot undetermined. So let's go ahead if we still understand. So what I actually did here is very simple. If this happened to be state.end, you just have to set it back to undetermined. Now let's go ahead and set it for state undetermined. So this is for like whenever we are done clicking on this, we have to check whether the current value happened to be 1. If it is 1, we have to reset it back to 0 and check this to undetermined, which means that it should go back to the default state. But let's go ahead and handle the default state. So we have to use the use code once more. Accept a callback with the gesture state dot current node. And it's going to accept an array that's going to check for a condition. So the condition of the gesture state dot current node. So what we want to do is, if this is state.end, which is very simple, all you just have to do is set gesture state value dot current to 1. So that should solve it. And why are we having error? I think I used double parentheses over here. So let me go ahead and clean that, and let me just quickly do this. If the gesture state dot current, yes, the gesture state dot current animation node happen to be state.end, then we have to set the gesture value dot current to 1. I think, yeah, so I wrapped this in a double parenthesis. That was why we had that issue. And let me go ahead and save it. So the way we can apply this transition is very simple. That's why we are going to be importing what is called with Spring transition from React Native Redash. Let me go up and import that. So you can see, okay, it's already imported Spring transition from React Native Redash, which is very simple. So I'm just going to scroll a little bit down. So over here, what I have to do is to make a tour animation. Let me not just use animation, which is going to use the Spring transition, and it's going to check for the gesture value dot current. So it's going to be interpolating all this thing for us smoothly without us having to create our own interaction animation, which is very simple. So I'm just going to bring the Spring utils and spread it, and we are going to use the make default overshoot clamping to true, and lastly we have to set the damping to new value of 20. So this is more like making it to be very smooth. So this is just an animation node that we are actually using. So I'm going to create a top height right away. So what I want to do here is to interpolate our values using the make tour animation. So we have an input range from 0 to 1. We can give it an output range. Output, let me see. Okay, this is an object, not an array. We have an object. Then we have an array of, we want to go from this current height over here. So I'm just going to call this height. And I want to go to the height multiplied by the 90% of the screen height. So I'm just going to replace this with top height. So forgive me for that, my keyboard switched. And that should solve it. And let's go ahead and save. So right now, let's go ahead and give it a try, and you can see automatically it's going to push it down. And right now you can see whenever it pushes it down, this current value is 1. And the gesture state is at the end value. So whenever we click on this, we are now going to make use of this hawk. So if I happen to remove this right now, this is going to stick like this. So it's not going to go up or down. So it's not going to go up again, no matter how many times I click it. But let me uncomment that and save it again. Now it's going to detect that this gesture state is at the end. Then the current value also happens to be 1. Then it's going to reset everything to state dot undetermined, which is actually going to be making use of this. Going to be resetting this from 1 to 0. So let's go ahead and check it again, and you can see automatically that solves it. So that is pretty cool and very fine. So let's go ahead and handle the animation for the car slide at the top here. So whenever we are working with transitions, like scroll view transitions, we actually make use of what is called the Usescrollahanlder from React Native Redash. So you can see the Usescrollahanlder from React Native Redash. So that's what we are going to be making use of. I'm going to create a constant right away. So over here, I'm going to create a constant, but I'm going to pull it from the Usescrollahanlder. So inside the Usescrollahanlder, we have the scroll handler, and also we get the X value or the X animation node. So the way we can make use of that is to use it inside our scroll view. So if you can recall, we are making use of scroll view over here. So we want to make use of those animation nodes to actually also interpolate things from the left to right or from the right to left. So let's scroll a little bit down. So back to this, our animated scroll. Okay, the first thing I have to do is to put down the scroll handler over there. Just spread it out so that we can be able to have access to that value in our X value. So that's already okay. So we don't have to do anything else. So the next thing now is for us to add the car over here. Then we can be able to use that this X value to actually animate it wherever we want to push it to. And let's go ahead and fix this over here. This kind of looks ugly. So where is it again? We are using red. So I'm just gonna, so inside this box, we are gonna add more styling to it. We have the key, we have let's kind of go this way so that I can understand. Let me just align the items to the center and save. Yeah, it seems not to be working. Let's also justify the content to the center. And it seems okay, it's working perfectly right now. And here we have the description. Also, let's give it a padding bottom of M. So that looks better. That looks better right away. So let me just refresh because I made a mistake when typing down the text. All right, now let's scroll. So whenever we scroll, we want the current speed over here to be the speed of the current scroll view that we are on, or the current car that we are on it. So the way we can do that is we have to, we're already making use of this perfect width over here, which is not a problem, but we have to animate this in order to shift this text for us. So the way we can do that is here we are going to add a transform property. Then we can translate X. So I want to multiply it, but I want it to move to the left part. So, and I want it to move only once. So that's why I use multiply X to be -1. So if you make this -2, it's going to go double. But if you make it 1, it's going to, according to the number of ranges you want to make it, it's going to follow that sequence. So right now you can see automatically we are now able to use that X value to animate the current text to be the current information of the current car we are on, which is actually pretty simple and pretty good. Right now, let's go ahead and bring down the car and also get rid of this reddish color. So let me get rid of that color, and let me align this overall box to center. It's already aligned to center, so let's kind of justify the contents to center again, and let's save. So this should come to the center, or let's just give this a flex of 1, or let me just align items to center and also justify the content to center. So this should be able to push it to the center, which is really better. So our application is looking more like this we see on the screen. So let's go ahead and finalize this last image over here in order to animate it as well. So it's going to be very simple, just like the way we have been doing others. That's where we are going to do it faster. So at the top here, just above the effect, we are going to add a view because we are going to be animating that view. I don't want this to be in the center. So inside that, I'm just going to define the style immediately. Give it a flex of 1. Transform the property. So if you can recall, let me kind of break this down. So if you recall, we translate X, then we multiply the item with the X, but we want it to go to the left. So this is looks more better. Then we want to give it the same width that we gave on this one. So let me just grab that and paste over here. And lastly, we have to give it a flex direction of row. So inside of it, so guys, sorry for that little noise. Instead of it, we can give it a slice.map. So inside here, we can use the structuring to pull out the car name, the image. We don't even need the index because we can use the index because I don't want to use the same car name in case I have double car names together. Then over here, I'm going to add a box. So inside that box, there's going to be a flex of 1. Let's kind of give this a background color of red. It's not going to work. Let's give it a background color of white and save and see. Of course, we are going to see some error, but it's going to vanish. So let's save. Let's give this some seconds. So while it is reloading, let's kind of add more things. Okay, so you can see there is nothing actually inside this box. So even if we are sliding, it's actually sliding, but there is no effect. So, but you kind of notice something whenever we came to the first one. So you can see something like a bounce effect. So what I'm going to do next is, let me complete the styling for this one. I want it to make use of the same width. So add the same width. Then for the key, we can use the index. And lastly, we can give it a flex direction of, okay. We can give this a flex direction of column because we want it to be on the straight line, not on the row. So let me just give this a flex direction of column. And lastly, we can justify the content to flex end. So inside of it, inside there, we now have to use the view. Because I don't want it to have more padding. Whenever you are using this box, Restyle automatically adds some little bit of padding and margin for you. So I don't want those things. I just want it to be very simple, more flat. So that's why I'm using this view over here. So I can give it a style with flex of 1. And I can align the items to center. So we are having some kind of, okay, that's out. Then inside there, we can now bring in the text. Let me just add a text before we complete anything. So let's just give it a white color. Then here we can add the timeless machine, and let's save and get rid of this background color and let it refresh. So when we scroll, automatically you can see we are able to animate that area, and automatically everything goes together with the bottom one. Likewise also the text under the effect, which is actually very simple and easy to use. So this style didn't apply because, yeah, so let's save, and it should push it to the center, which is very fine. And lastly, let's bring down our car. But before that, we have to add one more thing, that is the car name. So let's add the car name. So the car name is coming from here, and let's as well give it a color of white, a variant of title 2. For this one, we're gonna give it a variant of description and also reduce the font size, and also give it a little bit of margin top to be just 10, which is the M. So that should solve it, and you can see automatically it kind of looks like what we actually wanted to do. So at the bottom we have to put down one more view. So that view is where we are going to add the car. So I'm just going to put a view over here, give it a style of justify the content. I swear to center. Let me scroll this a little bit up, then align this kind of dogs like Restyle. So I'm going to use a little Restyle a lot. So we have to align the items to center. So if you're a great Kotlin fan, Kotlin looks more like this Restyle, and is what Kotlin made me to like XML development, unlike the way it was on Java, which was actually cool, but to me it was boring. So let me just give this same width, and inside here we can now add our image. So we kind of got, okay, the width, it's supposed to be here, not there. So over here we can add the image. Let's give it a source of image.source, and let's give it a style. Unlike the way we did on the other image, the first thing is to add a flex, because we don't want it to overflow. Align it to center. Then we can give it an aspect ratio to be a little bit bigger than 1.2, which is 1.5. And lastly, you can add a resize mode to contain. And lastly, we can add a resize method to author. So I said lastly twice, so you kind of understand. And let's save that and see. And right now you can see we have the image over there. I don't know why it's kind of choked together. It's not supposed to be like this. So you can see we have something similar to this over here. So I will try to make this text go to the top. So this space over here, I'm not gonna add the space over here, but you have seen how we can actually do something that looks similar like this. Don't worry, in the future I'm gonna update this course and I'll make it looks more flexible, like the way you can see this cool scroll, like you can see 1 or 2. So maybe in the next part of this video I'm gonna do that. So guys, even if you're watching, don't make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button and also the subscribe button. So let me just kind of see how we can fix that. We have the image, so let me kind of click on this. We have this. So this is flex end, which is actually good. So let me click on this. So the flex end is supposed to have this one, which has a height, and the box. So the box, let me kind of add a flex of 1, and let's see. Oh, that made it to even go to the middle, which is boring. So guys, this is not really hard, but I can't put it together right now. It's kind of pretty cool. Unlike the way we did the top here and the bottom here, that's the same strategy. And also the way we did, this is supposed to be a clear space. Let me kind of check something once more. We have the effect, we have the view. So this view actually is in a flex of 1. Of course, it's not going to have a height because the one at the bottom does have a height. We kind of comment this and let's save. Oh, sorry guys for that. Let's save it again and refresh. It's still there. So guys, don't worry, in the next part of the video we are going to see how we can fix that. So we've really come to the conclusion of this animation series. I'm going to bring you some cool animation videos, teach you a lot of things in animation. So don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and see you on the next part. Bye bye.